Okay, hopefully everyone's settled. There's just a couple of people getting to their seats. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you out of your misery first and give you the results. So there'll be one team going through to the regional final from this debate. Then I'm going to give a couple of minutes of general feedback on the 4 skill sets, and we'll run through what the 4 skill sets are if you've forgotten. And then after that, there'll be an opportunity for each of the teams and each of the speakers to come up and get some individual feedback and some really practical tips that we can go through to try to make sure that the next time you debate, be it in the regional final or be it the next round of the Schools Mace or next year's Schools Mace or university, whatever you do for your next debate, that you can be a little bit better. So, the results, the team that went through was the proposition team in the second debate, St Mark's Catholic. So, well done to all 4 teams in the debate. It was really high quality. It's great to see such good debaters, so thank you very much. Okay, so can I get some hands up? Does anyone think they know what the first, or a first, because there's no particular order to them, of the skill sets that we judge you on in ESU Schools Mace? There's some whispering. I can hear whispering. Go on, put your hand up. Yes.
Listening and response.
Listening and response. Excellent. That is one of the 4. Anyone think of any others? Do you know that? Yes?
Reason and evidence.
Reasoning and evidence. Brilliant. Thank you. Contributor first time. Do you know any of the other 2?
The quality of your delivery?
Yes, delivery. It's something and delivery. Does anyone know? Expression and delivery. So that's often called style, but it's a bit more than just style. And the last one, which is the most obscure one, is organisation and prioritisation. So that's the points that you select and how you organise them in your speech. So I'm going to talk a little bit about 3 of those 4. Listening and response, I think, was one of the most varied between different teams and different speakers. So I'm going to focus more on that in individual feedback. So it's not that I think it's unimportant or uninteresting. I'm just going to deal with it later. So expression and delivery. So this is your tone of voice, your body language, use of space, choice of words and rhetoric as well. So I think one thing that was really great from every single speaker in today's debate was the clarity of your expression. So it was very easy to understand, even in quite a large, and I think it is an acoustically nice auditorium, but nonetheless it is a big space. Everyone was talking nice and clearly, shoulders back, head up, good aeration, easy to understand what you were saying. So congratulations to that. You're all clearly people who are either confident speakers or capable of putting on the charade of confidence, which is in many ways better. So well done for that. Thank you for some very clear speeches. One thing that I think we could have done to improve a lot of the speeches would have been some emotivity. So while you were using your body to kind of hit home your point, that classic like hitting body language, while you were expressing yourself using your tone of voice, keeping things interesting by varying your tone of voice, there wasn't very much emotion underlying those speeches. And some of these were very emotive speeches touching on important subjects that can really affect people. But sometimes I think it would have been nicer just to hear a bit of passion behind those speeches from more of the speakers. And that's what really distinguishes good expression delivery, and everyone here had good expression delivery to excellent expression and delivery, is when you're bringing something that makes the audience feel something as well as understanding and reacting logically. So definitely some more emotion in all of the speeches would have been great. Organisation and prioritisation. So these are the arguments that you select and the way that you organise them. One thing that was good was that almost all speakers were using point headers consistently throughout their speeches, so it's easy for me to make notes. I understood what you were talking about, when you were talking about it, how to lay out my notes to understand things. And I also think the arguments that you selected were pretty good. They represented, I think, a lot of the real world impacts and ways in which these things get talked about. There is a but here, however, and that comes in with the reasoning and evidence. So I think in a lot of the speeches, while the points that you'd selected were impactful points, you didn't actually always explain what those impacts were. So impactful arguments, but not always explained to the fullest that they could have been in the debate. So try to get down to like if you're making a practical argument, really human level impact, right? How are individual people going to be affected? You can aggregate those individual people. You can say there are lots of people who are like a sort of person who would be affected by this, but it's really good when you can say how people are going to be hurt, how they're going to feel, how their hurt feelings might affect them, because it's easy to dismiss people's feelings getting hurt, but that is ultimately what makes up happiness in our society. Or how they're going to be hurt physically, but be really specific about those things. Don't be vague about them. Don't gesture towards the idea that pain is occurring. Actually say what it is and explain it to me and make me understand it. So really good, impactful arguments, but make sure that those impacts are coming out in the way that you're explaining them. One thing that I did think was really good about raising evidence across the board was the depth and level of research, and one thing that I think took it from just being good research to excellent research really consistently was the fact that the research was very relevant to the debate. Sometimes you see people who've done lots of research but they don't really know how to apply it, and they do what I call chocolate chip cookie approach to research, where they just like sprinkle facts throughout their speeches, and it's not really relevant to what's being said. And I think something that was really good was that you'd clearly done research and maybe even abandoned some of the things that you'd learnt in your research because you realised they weren't relevant, and only kept the important bits that were actually adding to your argument. So congratulations for that. Well done. The other good thing that was about with the research was the way that the research provided context for the arguments. So the research often came quite early in your arguments, which is good because that makes them kind of real-world arguments easy to understand. So that was a whistle-stop tour of some of the really good things and some of the things that could be improved. Overall, as I said, I think it was a really high quality of debate this evening. One last round of applause for all 14 contestants.